Good evening, and welcome to the 8th Annual High School Commencement Exercises of Christ Episcopal School. Every graduation is special. Each is unique in some way. What I will always remember about this graduation is my belief that it happily and perfectly reflects the character of the class it honors, in its joy, in its spirit of celebration, and finally, in the profound sense of gratitude it brings to this moment. Each of you with us here this evening has been along with us on this long and sometimes torturous high school journey, which culminates tonight. And I know that we are all relieved to have finally arrived. So on behalf of the administration and staff of Christ Episcopal School, I welcome you and thank you for being here this evening. Diocesan restrictions limit congregational singing in church services, so you're asked not to sing this evening, but to listen and to pray along with the words of each song, as the lyrics of each are meaningful and relevant. And now I will ask you please to stand for our opening hymn, Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee, performed by Betsy Cook. We welcome Reverend William Miller, Rector of Christ Episcopal Church of Covington, who will preside at our ceremony. Father Bill will now offer the opening acclamation and prayer.
In gratitude, we pray. God of joy and hope, we thank you for this time of graduation and for each graduate. Your spirit of wisdom has empowered their hard work and their discipline in such a way that their hunger for learning has been nourished with knowledge, discovery, creativity, and determination. May each of them approach this occasion with prayerful gratitude for the many blessings that have made this moment real and filled with such potential. We give thanks this day for every family member and friend, every faculty member, every administrator, every coach and counselor who have made this day possible. In the days ahead, give each of our graduates patience, hope, courage, and strength. May your spirit guide them as they unfold the next chapters of their lives. Help them to enliven hope in the world and to bring good things to your kingdom, our nation, and this world. And may this celebration be a reflection of the blessings that we find in knowing and loving you. For this is the day that you have made. May we be glad and rejoice in it with each of them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please be seated. Our welcoming address will be delivered by co-salutatorian Mia Sophia Angela.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the commencement ceremony for the class of 2020. Welcome, Mr. Morvant, Father Bill Miller, CES Board of Trustees Chair, Dr. Pramod Menon, Mrs. Clark, faculty, staff, and families. On behalf of my classmates, I would like to thank all of you for being here tonight. Thank you to the administration for working tirelessly to make sure our efforts were properly recognized in these unusual times. I would like to thank Miss Ann for her commitment and dedication to our class this year, especially during these times when we were missing much of what should have been memorable senior moments. Whether it was organizing a beautiful drive-in night to recognize us seniors on the day of what should have been our graduation, or calling us late at night to discuss upcoming events and make sure the voices of the students are heard, you made sure to provide for us seniors an ending to our year that we deserved. Thank you to the faculty for making Christ Episcopal School what it is. Thank you for going beyond the job description of an average teacher and making an impact on us that reaches far beyond the classroom. Thank you for making an effort to connect with each and every one of us on a more personal level and for treating us with a profound level of respect, unlike any other found in a teacher-student relationship. I cannot put into words how truly grateful I am for the teachers who have made this place feel less like a school and more like a home. On behalf of my classmates, I want to thank our parents. I often take for granted just how much my parents do for me. So I want to take this moment to say thank you. You always tell me how proud you are that I am your daughter, but I want to say how proud I am that y'all are my parents. Thank you for teaching me the values of hard work and dedication. I would not be up here speaking to everyone today if it wasn't for you. And finally, to the 33 people sitting behind me, where do I even begin? Thank you for showing me what it means to be a part of a community. We truly are a unique class in the way that we can all come together as one, regardless of all of our differences. Each one of you brings so much into the dynamics of our class, whether you realize it or not. I truly will miss the sense of security and reassurance I feel when I am with y'all. Never once have I felt that I needed to try to be something I was not in order to feel accepted. My favorite memories over the past 4 years have been the moments that we've all shared together. Thank you for giving me the high school experience that I didn't even know that I needed. Thank you.
Members of the CES Music Ministry, Elizabeth Burris, Betsy Cook, Amelia K. Thompson will perform our songs this evening. Accompanying the singers and playing piano for the ceremony is Mrs. Angel Carter. The next song was composed by Mr. Glenn Bailey, father of CES alums Gordon and Annabelle Bailey, and was performed 7 years ago for the first time at our inaugural commencement exercises. The song reflects the operating principles of CES and is sung tonight in tribute to our departing seniors. The school song is called At Christ Episcopal School, and it will be sung by Elizabeth Burris.
We must do unto others as we'd have them do to us, for that's the golden rule. And every day we strive to live this way at Christ Episcopal School. So no matter where we go, be it far or be it near, over remember all the special days that we spent here. Just take one step at a time, though the road be narrow and long. In your darkest night, look towards God's light, and His strength will lead you on. Now the flame of the Lord burns in the hearts of everyone, and we must be its fuel. With hearts of fire, our friends we will inspire at Christ Episcopal School. As we grow older, we will cherish all these years, just like a precious jewel. We will not hide our gratitude and pride for Christ Episcopal School. So no matter where we go, be it far or be it near, we'll remember all the joyful days that we spent here. We'll remember all the joyful days that we spent here.
Our first scriptural reading from 1 Corinthians will be read by Reese Raymond Lustelat.
A reading from Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes in all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends, but as for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we only know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see in a mirror, dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know in full, even as they have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, and the greatest of these is love.
Our second reading from the Gospel of Matthew will be read by Molly Gahagan Hurton.
Reading from the Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. Therefore, do whatever they teach you and follow it. But do not do as they do, for they do not practice what they teach. They tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on the shoulders of others. But they themselves are unwilling to lift a finger to move them. They do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they make their phylacteries broad and their fringes long. They love to have the place of honor at banquets and the best seats in the synagogues, and to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces, and to have people called Rabbi. But you are not to be called Rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all students. And call no one your father on earth, for you have one Father, the one in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. The greatest among you will be your servant.
The commencement address will now be delivered by co-valedictorian Catherine May Werner.
Good evening, everyone. Consider for a moment the metaphor displayed before you. We acquired our senior rings in August, a proposal, if you will. We waited 10 months until this ceremony, a period infused with celebration, planning, and anxious expectation. And now we stand upon these steps in suits and wedding dresses, awaiting a send-off from our friends and families. Yet you and I are not, in fact, at a wedding. And instead of a toast, I have the task of delivering one final message as a high school senior. However, before I begin, there are a number of people I would like to thank for their dedication to Christ Episcopal School, my classmates, and myself. Although my entire speech could comprise thank yous, I simply cannot name all of the people who have supported me in my academic and personal endeavors, and Mia's speech comprised it quite well. I'm also one of the only obstacles between the graduates and their diplomas, so I will try to keep it brief. First, to our families, thank you for your unconditional love, patience, and support. We would not be standing here without you. To our teachers, thank you for investing so much time in each of us and molding us into the distinctive individuals we are today. You believed in us, cultivated our voices, and trusted us to take pride in our own education. You gave us the flexibility and creativity to think for ourselves, from posing the deepest philosophical questions in math class to shaping the entire English curriculum around the students. And I will forever be grateful for your guidance. To our dedicated administrators and staff, thank you for making all of the operations at CES possible. I would like to give a special shout out to Miss Anne for primarily organizing this graduation ceremony, and to her daughter for lending me this dress. Classmates, I am blessed to have spent the past 3 years with the 33 of you. You welcomed me with open arms into one of the most authentic, vibrant, and caring communities I have ever been a part of. While we all envisioned a different ending to our senior year, COVID-19 demonstrated that our bonds extend beyond 80 Christwood Boulevard. Without the unity of our class, the weight of the past few months would have felt all the more isolating. As I attended my last session of synchronous learning in May, I realized how intertwined our lives had truly become. I might be able to part with the building behind me, but the daily dose of zeal, inspiration, and laughter comes at a greater cost. I challenge the underclassmen to try to outdo the class of 2020. James and Luke kayaking to school, student council's ingenious idea of marketing mystery boxes, and people buying them, wearing wigs at winter formal, planning our first homecoming flag football game, and so much more. We have left a legacy at CES, not only of shenanigans and spirit, but of purposeful community. Although some graduates have spent over a decade together, we have all merged into a single, albeit dysfunctional at times, family. Each of us has shaped each other in different ways, and our identities are forever marked by moments cherished with this small group of individuals. When people ask me to define my high school experience, I will recall the moments woven by a collection of the most unique group of individuals I have ever met. However, the closeness of our community did not determine the scope of our mindsets or service to others. While education is integral to success, learning academics without the value of service bears a life of unfulfillment. As Martin Luther King Jr. attests, an individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Therefore, I would like to discuss the importance of fighting for what you believe in despite what anyone says about your capabilities. This message is especially pertinent due to the heightened crimes of racial injustice across the United States this past week. It also gives fresh urgency to the call to be people of others, in the words of Pedro Arrupe, S.J., or people completely convinced that the love of God, which does not issue justice for others, is a farce. Many people believe our lives begin after graduation, but I encourage all of us to challenge this sentiment. In the wake of the recent tragedies, it is easy to feel powerless. We often feel as though we cannot make a change as teenagers, yet so many of us have demonstrated otherwise. For example, Becca founded the nonprofit Dolls for All and has donated hundreds of dolls to children in foster care. Kate and Lucy founded the charity Kindness for Everybody to support underprivileged and foster teens. As past state parliamentarian, Luke advised the Louisiana Association of Student Councils to pick the state charity grants gift. So many of my classmates have artfully embodied the Christ Episcopal mission statement, be kind, sacrificing countless hours to serve their community. Therefore, do not let age prevent you from dedicating your time to relationships, organizations, and causes you deem important. And do not make excuses for complacency. After all, as high school graduates, we worked hard to get to this moment, but we must recognize our privilege to be here. As Malala Yousafzai reminds us, due to the coronavirus, many girls, especially in developing countries, will never return to the classroom. Because of this crisis, they will be forced into early marriages or low-paying jobs to support their families. When schools reopen, their desks will be empty. The toll of COVID-19 has left a lasting impact on our world, and we must remember these empty desks as we strive to change tomorrow. Although I grieve for the months missed, I miss spending with my classmates. I am grateful for the moments we shared together and the opportunities we had to pursue an education without barriers. Our class will not be defined by what we lost to COVID-19, but by how we respond to it. We must remember to fight for those who do not have a voice in order for theirs to be amplified, and we must remember to be grateful for our education, for our classmates, and for those who have come before us. Throughout my schooling at CES, teachers have posed uncomfortable questions and have challenged us to consider our purpose in life. At baccalaureate, Mr. Hardy exhibited this attitude perfectly, beginning with a question: what will you become and why? Although I'm only 18 years old, I have come to learn that the change makers of the world are those who ask many questions. Because without asking difficult questions, you cannot attain a meaningful education and you cannot see a need and fill it. As we transition into this evolved normal, we must recognize the increasing necessity to identify the need, torn back the curtain on the idea that so many of the folks in charge know what they're doing. A lot of them aren't even pretending to be in charge. If the world is going to get better, it's going to be up to you. So I urge all of you to determine what you stand for and how you would like to be remembered. Whether it is for founding a charity, working as a political activist, or using your career as a springboard for service, I encourage you to prioritize social justice and philanthropy in your futures. Thank you for helping me find my own voice at Christ Episcopal. and I have been honored to speak to you today. And to the graduates, although this is not, in fact, our wedding day, we sure do clean up well. Thank you.
Before we begin our presentation of special graduation awards, I wish to recognize two students who deserve recognition for their outstanding performance on the PSAT exam taken during their junior year. We customarily do this at academic awards ceremony in May, but we were not able to do so this year. But by virtue of their stellar achievement, the honorees have brought honor and recognition to themselves, to their families, and to this school. I'm proud to recognize our two National Merit finalists from the class of 2020 and ask them to stand. They are Christopher Luke Croxton and Rachel Ann Leith. You guys can sit down. We will now present 6 special awards which are annually conferred. Award winners are asked to simply stand when their names are called. They will receive their awards and be photographed with them after they receive their diplomas. The first awards will be presented by Mrs. Amy Clark, High School Division Head of Christ School.
The Salutatorian Award is presented to the graduating senior with the second highest overall grade point average. This year we are blessed to have and to celebrate co-salutatorians. The Salutatorian Award winners for the class of 2020 are Mia Sophia Angelo and Alexandra Grace Coughlin. The Valedictorian Award is presented to the graduating senior with the highest overall grade point average. This year, I am pleased to announce that we also have co-valedictorians, and the Valedictorian Award winners for the class of 2020 are Rachel Ann Leith and Catherine May Werner.
Please be seated. The next award is offered for the 3rd time this year. It is named in honor of Mr. Jeff Brock, who retired 2 years ago. Well, he sort of retired after 6 extraordinary years as the high school division head at Christ Episcopal. Mr. Brock imbued our fledgling high school with an unmitigated respect for academics. He believes a school such as ours should challenge students and that our students should welcome and embrace those challenges. He was particularly fond of students who overcame obstacles in their path, and he encouraged our students to be active outside of class in extra and co-curricular activities. This year, we choose to recognize 5 seniors as winners of the Jeff Brock Award. Each of them exemplifies in their own way the work ethic and qualities of character so valued by Mr. Brock. Their stories are different, and their unique and outstanding contributions to the school include scholarship, art, theater, costume design, athletics, cheer, and student government. Simply put, these are Jeff Brock kinds of students, and today we honor them for their overall excellence, for their many and varied accomplishments, and for the unfailing spirit of goodwill which defined their years here. Seniors, please stand as I call your names. We are proud to present the 2020 Jeff Brock Awards to Lola Brenholtz, Ethan Diliberto, Patrick McQuaid, Claire Nico, and Bridget Wendelstedt. Congratulations, seniors. Y'all may sit.
The next award is named in honor of the former headmaster of Christ Episcopal School, Mr. Greg Homer. This award is conferred annually to the student who has best demonstrated those lofty characteristics of intellectual curiosity and quality of character so valued by Mr. Homer and so richly exemplified in Mr. Homer's own life. This year, we have 3 recipients of the Greg Homer Award. For these 3 young women, high school has been a far cry from simply a collection of credits and accolades that would propel them to the future that they'd hoped for. Rather, these students recognized the opportunity that Christ Episcopal presented them to deepen their learning and to pursue greater knowledge and understanding in this world. They took hold of that opportunity boldly, creating for themselves richness of learning beyond all expectation. And I'll ask that you stand when your name is called. We are pleased to present the Greg Homer Award for the class of 2020 to Alexandra Grace Coughlin, Rachel M. Leaf, and Catherine May Werner.
The next award is the American Legion Award. It is offered by the Robert H. Burns American Legion Post 16 of Covington, and we are grateful to the American Legion for sponsoring this award. In presenting their award, the American Legion places emphasis on the development in young people of the American ideals of courage, honor, leadership, patriotism, scholarship, and service. And they recognize students who exemplify well those qualities. It is the highest honor that the American Legion offers graduating seniors. This year, the American Legion honors 2 students, 1 female and 1 male. The first is a young lady who possesses uncommon generosity, enormous leadership potential, and an unfailing willingness to serve. She served as president of our student council and was the unquestioned student leader of high school during her senior year. Driven by her incredible work ethic and her unflagging determination to get things done under the most difficult of circumstances, she made the high school a better place for all and was a model of servant leadership. The second was also a model of school engagement and leadership. Although actively involved in student government and any number of other school activities, he also served at the state level on the executive board of the Louisiana Association of Student Councils and as the state parliamentarian. He is an outstanding student, a National Merit finalist for the class of 2020. He is always willing to be of service and brings a spirit of infectious joy to whatever endeavor he undertakes. Both are visible and influential role models for underclassmen, and both personify well the exemplary qualities emphasized by the American Legion. We join the veterans of Post 16 in proudly presenting the 2020 American Legion Awards to Kate Ann Turnion and Christopher Luke Croxton.
This evening, we present for the 4th time the Leah Bell Episcopal Identity Award. This award is named and presented in honor of Leah Bell, who was a beloved member of the Christ Episcopal community, graduating with the class of 2014, and who we heartbreakingly lost in a tragic accident in 2017. Leah was a brilliant student, recognized in her senior year as a National Merit Commended Scholar. She was an accomplished member of the speech and debate team, served as senior class president, and was generous in her service to others. She was a natural on stage, very active in our theater program, among many other activities as well. Her faith and her church were extremely important to Leah, and I know she loved this school as she loved her classmates and she loved her teachers. She wielded a radiant smile, a laugh that could truly be heard all over campus, an infectious sense of humor, and she found joy in everything around her. I am so grateful to her parents, Liz and Jeff Bell, and to her sister, Rebecca Bell, who graduated in the class of 2018, for allowing us to present this award in Leah's name. Here, there are 2 recipients of the Leah Bell Episcopal Identity Award. Both of these young women possess a keen wit, a dedication to student leadership, as well as to theater, although more through costume design than on stage. And while one of them is actively engaged in the Christ Church community, the other has been so shaped and molded by our Godly Play program here at Christ Episcopal in her younger years that she focused her senior speak there. They are kind, they are generous, they are brilliant, and they are off to make this world a better place, and I believe they very much honor Leah's name. With her parents who are here with us this evening, it's my honor to announce that the recipients of the Leah Bell Episcopal Identity Award for 2020 are Grace Elizabeth Lagarde and Lucy Hollis Vanderbroek.
And finally, we present the Headmaster's Award. It is awarded to seniors who best exemplify at school and in life the operating principles of Christ Episcopal School. This award recognizes outstanding students, not simply for what they did, although each had significant accomplishments, but for who they are and how they positively impacted their class and this school. Among the members of this extraordinary class, 5 students will receive the Headmaster's Award this evening. Their spheres of influence on campus were as disparate as their personalities. Among them are a state champion track athlete, a national merit finalist, a student council president, a couple of all-state soccer team captains, and an accomplished gymnast. But as I suggested, it is not their achievements, but rather their strength of character, their personal integrity, and their love for this school, which we recognize and honor today. I would ask the following students to please stand as I complete the description of the award. Alyssa, please stand. Mia, Lou Croxton, James, and Kate. The young men and women standing before you are models of goodwill, of unwavering decency, of unselfish regard for others, and are always willing to do what is right. And so for their steadfast goodness, for their enduring kindness, for the joy they bring to others, for the positive influence they have had on underclassmen, and for their willingness to imitate Christ in their daily lives, we proudly present 2020 Headmaster's Award to Alyssa Acosta, Mia Angelo, Luke Croxton, James Miles, and Kate Turnion. Senior Luke Croxton is an accomplished pianist and a gifted musician, and he will now provide for us a few minutes of reflective music. My suggestion is that during this meditation time, we all take a deep breath, focus on the moment, watch the sunset, and consider the significance of this occasion. And please offer a silent prayer for the members of the graduating class.
Hey, guys, go see Miss Ann this way. Sorry. Okay. I was asked to share a poem with you this evening, which, if you know me, that's really not much of a surprise. Yet, as I searched for the right poem, and while thinking about so many memories that I've shared with this class, in particular, it was the poetry of Earth, Wind, and Fire that echoed first in my ears because, well, that's the poetry I hear when I think of the class. And I dare you not to smile when you hear it too. Do you remember the 21st night of September? Our hearts were ringing in the key that our souls were singing as we danced in the night. Remember how the stars stole the night away. Say, do you remember dancing in September? Never was a cloudy day. Somehow, Earth, Wind, and Fire's use of the word remember led me to perhaps a more appropriate poem for this occasion, which is Remember by Joy Harjo, which I share with you now. Remember the sky you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point in time. Remember sundown and the giving away to night. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father, he is your life also. Remember the earth, whose skin you are, red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people, and all people are you. Remember you are this universe, and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance that language is, that life is. Remember.
I promise you, we've never done that before. And this is why we'll never do it again. In the building where our seniors spent their 8th grade year, in the small structure which is now home to our junior high program, painted on the interior hallway doors, above the lockers and quite visible to them as they walked through the hallway or plopped down on the floor in front of their lockers, are just 6 words taken from the school's hallowed operating principles. Act justly, imitate Christ, it says on one side, and instill peace on the other. We take seriously our responsibility to be true to those ideals and to signify their commitment to be instruments of peace at school and in the community. And as a sign of their resolve to make the world a better place, Let There Be Peace on Earth will now be performed by Amelia Kate Thompson. And seniors, I would like you to stand to demonstrate your resolve to be women and men of peace. Seniors, please stand.
begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Seniors, please be seated. And so, by the power invested in me by the Board of Trustees of Christ Episcopal School, by the vestry of Christ Episcopal Church of Covington, by the Independent Schools Association of the Southwest, by the Southwest Association of Episcopal Schools, and by the state of Louisiana, I hereby certify your diplomas and declare you worthy of graduation from Christ Episcopal School. I charge you with the responsibility to be faithful to the values you learned here and to the relationships you formed here. And I remind you that you will always and forever be sons and daughters of Christ Episcopal School. And I challenge you to represent us well in college and in the years beyond. Done this 5th day of June, 2020. I will now call upon Mrs. Amy Clark, our high school division head, to read the names of our graduates.
As I call each graduate's name to come forward and to receive their diploma, we ask that you do hold applause until the last graduate has been presented their diploma and we present the class as a whole. And we begin with Mia Sophia Angelo. Reese Raymond Lustela. Molly Gahagan Hurton. Catherine May Werner. Bridget Elizabeth Wendelstead. James Edward Miles IV. Lola Chow Brenholtz. Kendra Grace Coughlin. Rachel Ann Lee. Christopher Luke Croxton. Abigail Jane Zeller. I'm going to pause for just a second for social distancing reasons. We have a little backup with the photographer. Lots of award winners. Patrick John McQuaid. Diego Jose Davy. Lucy Hollis Vanderbrook. Kate Ann Turnion. Wyatt Joseph Sochet. Georgie Elena Rigney. Rebecca Nicole Preston. Claire Margaret Nico. Jordan Sue Magnus. Molly St. Julian Levere. Alexander Craig Legnon. Joseph David Lambert. Grace Elizabeth Lagarde. Andrew David Kerr. Keaton Boucher Isbell. Justin Milto Gidry. Eric Roland Ekstrom. Emery Ellen Michelle. Lad Ari Duvik. Ethan Lee Diliberto. Jacob Edwin Lewis Bodion. Luke Anthony Acosta. Alyssa Marie Acosta. In just a moment, our graduates will rejoin us, so if you just be patient and enjoy the music, that would be wonderful. Graduates, if you would please put your cap on. And move your tassel from the right to the left. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 2020.
Before Father Bill closes with the final prayer and benediction, I'd like the privilege of one final word for our seniors and our parents. First, a couple of announcements. I too would like to thank Ann Costa and Ruth Saporsky for all the work that they did in putting this all together. And I want to thank you for your patience as we figured out exactly what we were going to do. I think we've had at least 10 iterations of this graduation ceremony. If you walked over to the gym, you would see a very different looking facility over there. We were ready to have the thing there in a moment's notice. So I think this was a beautiful evening. And again, I thank all of you for being with us. I think the seniors know how to dismiss. I was going to mention the process for doing that. They need to go back to the theater to pick up diplomas and awards. Seniors, those benches are for you to keep, and we hope you will keep them as a memento of your senior year and graduation. And now I have one final thought. About a month ago, when we finally realized and reluctantly admitted that we would not have a senior retreat, I wrote a letter to all of you, to all of the seniors, which you received along with your retreat shirts and crosses. And I explained to you that the theme of the retreat was Go the Distance. And I encouraged you to do exactly that as this crazy school year came to an unceremonious conclusion. I want to tell you that I think all of you did exactly as I asked. You went the distance, and you did so in a manner which we will long appreciate and will always remember. I will be eternally grateful for all you did during your time here to help us build this school. As I look out over the construction site over there, I'm reminded that we have much to look forward to. We have great work ahead of us, but we will always be indebted to you and to your parents for their support and trust over the many years that you were all Wildcats. We are proud of you, we love you, and we will never forget you. Father Bill.
Let us pray. Keep watch, dear Lord, with those who work or watch or weep this night, and give your angels charge over those who sleep. Tend the sick, Lord Christ, give rest to the weary. Bless the dying, soothe the suffering, pity the afflicted, shield the joyous, and all for your love's sake. A commencement benediction. Gracious and loving God, we ask now for your almighty hand to be upon all of our graduates as they and their families celebrate this wonderful milestone. May they find comfort from our community's continued embrace and support as they journey through life. Bless their lives from this day on with goodness and success. Enable them to stay true to their dreams for your greater glory, to discern what is right, good, and just, and to use their gifts wisely and in service to others. Empower them to walk into the future with faith, hope, and love, guided by your light, so that they may use their talents to be who you created them to be and to set the world on fire. Give them your grace in the days ahead. Uphold them, sustain them, and use them in your name. Amen.